everybody, it's Steve Alkin Napier. Welcome to Circle of Brilliance. Today we continue our discussion on the MasterStream and how it applies in the work that we're doing with our clients, so whether they're coaching clients, consulting clients, whatever. So up to now, we've talked about the general flow of tension that happens during each of the different stages of the discussions we have with our clients and prospective clients. And the past couple of weeks, we've pretty much focused on how we go about reducing relationship tension during phase one, which again is the connecting phase. And then last time around, we talked about what do we do in phase two in order to build the task tension up to a point where they're ready to hear whatever our recommendation is. And we started talking a little bit about what happens during phase three tension-wise and what we might be doing that that could be compromising this. And so that's pretty much where we left off. Before I pick up there, anyone have any questions, thoughts you want to share about what we've covered so far? Any puzzles, questions, thoughts, concerns? Nay. Okay, then I'm going to ask you kind of a gifted student's question. Let's go back to phase one for a second. What happens if you focus entirely on relationship tension and never get around to talking about the task tension, the task issue? What happens?
You become buddies.
You become buddies. And how does that affect your business relationship? And
it doesn't really.
It doesn't. And so you might have made a friend, but are you really providing them of anything of great value to them? Are you making any money? So obviously this skill is very important, but I did say that the world is filled with two kinds of people. You guys remember the two kinds of people? Two kinds, natural upgraders and natural downgraders, right? And so natural downgraders have this amazing ability to lower someone's level of tension, but they tend to be pretty lousy at raising tension. And that seems to be the category that most people in the human development industry kind of default into. Similarly, there are people who are natural upgraders. I would suggest to you that they do not choose the professions that we are in because they tend to be more of the outgrid personality types. So the A type, the driver types, the whatever. And in that particular case, they're really bad at managing relationship tension, but they don't seem to hesitate to jump into the whole task tension side of things. Okay, so because of that, I think we need to really understand this building of tension. Now, regardless of what our individual practices tend to focus on, I'll bet in all of your professional training, you have gone through one, if not several, different workshops, lectures, courses on questioning techniques. Am I correct? Yep, you guys have been taught all kinds of different ways to ask questions.
Yep.
Yep. We certainly have taught you one. For us, it's the path of self-discovery. And we talk about the importance of staying in color-tight compartments because it more effectively manages the level of tension. So I'm bringing this up only to say that I'd like to think that even though I'm going to be talking about the path, that you guys know you can just plug in any other questioning technique you've learned that works well for you, or any types of questions you want to make sure you get an answer to. Just plug them into the right place and you're good to go. And so if one of the things that you really are trying to understand, for example, is not only what someone wants, but why that's so important to them, I want you to recognize it belongs at a certain place on the change grid. So when I'm asking someone, and this, by the way, this is a gifted student's a borderline trick question. If I'm asking someone what they want, it's obviously what color question?
Green.
Green. If I'm asking them why that's so important to them, then a little bit of a debate occurs. What color question is, why is that so important to you?
I think that'd be blue and yellow.
Tell us why you think it might be blue and yellow.
Well, we're gathering information. We're moving up the path, so tension is increasing, and a why question is going to definitely increase tension.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so if the Y is going to be a little bit more on the structural side of things, that's what blue in particular is about. Yellow is more about the solutions kind of situation. They talk about, well, it's important because I'm trying to solve blah, blah, blah. Sometimes people also say it could be a red question. Why do you think they think that? Why is that so important to you? It could be a red question.
Because it's a challenge.
It's a challenge, and it's also what are red questions all about?
Feelings.
How you feel about something. And inside of the world of feelings also fits in things like your hunches, your instinct, intuition. So there's emotional feelings, but there's also these gut level kind of instinctual kind of feelings that people have. So that's kind of a red. Well, like I said, that's a bit of a trick question because I want to remind you guys of the rule that governs where questions go. The rule that governs where questions go is this: the color of a question is determined by the question's intention, not some set of words the question might contain. So the reason why I'm asking you why that goal is so important to you is not because I'm trying to figure out how you're feeling about it very upgrade or how it might fit into your solutions or your kind of control aspects of it. I'm asking you why it's important to you because I believe that's part of your value equation when you're thinking about and talking about what you want. So can you guys see that? So what you want can be very quantitative. I want X, Y, Z, but it can also be very qualitative. I want to feel X, Y, Z. Can you guys kind of feel how those both are still just parts of what the desired situation is?
Right.
Yep.
Yep. And so I think that that's the other thing I just wanted to add before we move on to how to get tension to go up is that as we remember, we said that a lot of green is about asking 4 questions. So again, I said at the most basic level, the desired state question is, what do you want? And
T,
wherever it goes, goes. Yep.
would you ask a why question though? Because that just, I mean, what do you expect that to do for you personally is maybe
Yeah. You got to phrase it however you think they're going to be able to receive it and respond in this more downgrid kind of affect. If I am being confrontational, why, really hammering on the why, I promise you tension's going to go up and go up fast. Because now I feel like I'm being overly scrutinized, attacked, judged. And we don't want that to happen. But if I say to you, so you said that you want to be able to increase your billable hours by 50% next year. Why would that be important to you? I think a lot of it has to do with the tonality that we are employing as we deliver the question. Or what I like that idea about rather than just saying, why is it important to you? What kind of difference would that make for you? What would you do with that money? What
Yep.
impact would that have on your practice?
Yep.
Interesting, you chose 50%. Well, why not 60? Why not just go for double? So is there some specific thing that 50% covers? So I think you guys have to just kind of go, I do need to know when it comes to the desired situation, not only what you want, but why do you want that? And who knows what the full range of possible answers I could get from there. Now, why do I need to know that? Because ultimately, when I start presenting a solution, I want to be able to say to you that not only will the solution give you the practical what you want, but it also give you those real desired outcomes that you feel some sort of heart connection to. Because to me, that's the real value of what's really going on. It's what that desired outcome is going to bring to you. Or the changes it's going to make or allow you to make going down. So that to me is why I just said I think it's important that we recognize those are just questions that help you better understand what the full desired situation is. Yeah. Now, I did give you a quick question, though. I said, if we're only going to look for the concrete, factual sorts of stuff, there are 4 questions we would ask somebody to get better definition around their goal. And that's just a review from last time. So what are the 4 questions we ask when it comes to fleshing out the goal? Hmm?
What do you hope to gain?
Yeah, what do you want to gain? What do you hope to gain? What else?
What do you hope to lose?
To lose, yeah. And then the other 2 are? And
What
these
do you
are where,
want to gain? What do you not want to gain?
what do you
And what do
not want to gain and what do you
not want to lose?
not want to lose? And so let's just quickly apply this to a medical situation. So Brian, you are talking to someone who is has a serious problem with their weight. And let's say because of their issues with their weight, they've got now some mobility issues. They've got some diabetes kinds of things that they're dealing with. Energy levels have been compromised. They're feeling depressed, etc. So have you ever had a patient like that?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. How many times a day? And then you kind of go like, well, if you ask them to fill out, what do they hope to gain as a result of making these behavioral changes? What kinds of things do you think they might say?
I often hear like, I want to sleep better. I
Mhm.
want to feel better is the
Okay.
big one. I often hear that. I want to feel better. And I try to get underneath that. What does that look like? Like, what does that
Mm.
mean?
Right. What does that really mean? Yeah. And then, and again, we could spend a good long time fleshing that quadrant out, but that tends to be the easiest of the 4 or the most natural of the 4 to complete. Now, if I said, and what do you hope to lose as a result of making this change, getting your weight under control? What would you hope to lose?
I often hear, I don't know,
All right.
sometimes. Because oftentimes when they're going through the pain that they're going through, they're not, they're experiencing it, but they're not connected to as why that is.
Mhm,
And so they
mhm.
have difficulty with bringing words to that, if that
Yep,
makes sense.
it absolutely makes sense. And I brought this up specifically so that you guys could kind of explore a different sort of skill set and maybe one you've learned in other questioning techniques. But bottom line is that sometimes we need to prime the pump. So if they can't give us an answer about what they hope to lose, you can certainly say, so I'm kind of curious, what kinds of things would you like to no longer have be part of your reality? What would you like to no longer experience? What would you like to be able to let go of, wave goodbye to once and for all? So does that stimulate you to come up with some answers?
Yeah, that's a good approach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Now, if that doesn't work, you say, now some of the things people have shared before is, well, the obvious one is they'd like to weigh less.
Mhm.
They'd like to get rid of some aches and pains. They'd like to be able to turn over in bed without getting winded. Now that kind of sounds like what they want to gain, but really it's based on the structure of what they're saying. It could very well come across as, I just want my ankles to stop hurting, or I just want to not have to poke myself with a needle multiple times a day to find out what my blood sugar is and give myself insulin or whatever. So sometimes we need to be more creative than what that little headline is for that little, quadrant of this aspects of control diagram is. And sometimes we need to really give them some examples that we've heard from other people, because then how likely are they going to say like, oh yeah, that's certainly true. Yep, 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 yep. You're right, you're right, you're right. Now, if you talk to the same kinds of people about the same kinds of issues over and over and over, you could easily create checklists for each one of those quadrants. So here's a whole laundry list of things people have said they want to gain. And here's a whole laundry list of things that people say they want to get rid of. Check off the ones that resonate with you. But then I think that we aren't doing as effective of a job as true tension management than if we are asking these questions in a more open way that kind of prompts the person to really give it some thought and really have some feelings, have some sort of a reaction to what the question is actually asking you. But bottom line, there's lots of different ways that you could get more detail than that. Okay, thoughts about having pre-made checklists?
Well, doctors do it all the time.
I know. I just filled one out today. I get my booster shot for the for COVID. I mentioned to you guys I'm going on this cruise. Well, I say it as a joke, but it's true. A cruise ship is a petri dish on a good day. And so I want to make sure that I'm as protected as I can get. Well, I have to fill out 2 pages of information front and back to get the booster. All I had to do to get the 2 original shots was tell them my name and my social security number. So I thought, okay, that's fine, whatever.
I had this experience, T.
Yeah.
But and a little bit of reaction from the booster, by the way, for a couple of days. But
Yeah.
my response to these lists, because I mean I come from, as you know, an anthropology background, so everything is context. I much prefer the open-ended question whenever possible,
Yep.
just because the gray areas are where you get a lot of your information.
Yeah.
And you can't get that from a list or from a fill out the blank survey or any of that stuff. That's my particular bias. They do come in handy at certain times, but they're not my primary mode.
Yeah, well, I think they're good things for the professional to have. As far as like going like, oh, look, our research after doing a gazillion of these little interviews is look at this amazing list we've been able to compile for each one of them. So I think it's an interesting thing for the professional to have, but sharing it is a totally different thing. And I think you're right. We get a lot of information by focusing on open-ended questions. And from attention management perspective, open-ended questions are far more effective at managing tension than giving someone a little checklist of things to choose from. Yeah.
I like what Patrick just described, because to me, the idea of nudging someone, I don't think that's something you necessarily want to automate.
Right.
Like there's a lot of hacking this and let's do this and doing it quick. But again, the insights that you miss because of that, I
Yep.
think is too great of something to miss if you were to ask something open-ended.
Exactly. And that's why, as I said, we start with something very open. If that doesn't help the person to come up with something, because you're right, they might say, I can't think of anything. Then maybe you rephrase the prompt. Expand upon it as I demonstrated. Maybe you give a couple of little suggestions, what I think should be the obvious ones. Like, for example, if you're talking to someone about weight loss, I don't think that we are in any way prejudicing their thoughts by saying to them, so one thing you'd like to actually lose is weight. Okay, it's like, well, yeah, that's obvious. All right, good. Anything else you might want to lose while you're at it? Oh, yeah, I'd like to lose blah, blah, blah. All right, so now, I will say to you that if the only thing the change required was that you could fill out the what I hope to gain and what I hope to lose quadrants, and just based on what people say there, that's enough to prompt them to make the change, then everybody would be very, very effective at making changes. Unfortunately, there are those 2 other quadrants that are going to come into play, and these are where the obstacles or the deal breakers are going to surface. So again, as the professional, how early on in the discussion would you like to know what obstacles or what deal breakers you're going to have to address in order for this person to actually
As
follow
soon
through?
as possible.
Right, exactly right. And so I have to say to them, what do you not want to gain as you're going about this? So Brian, we're going to go back to the weight loss kind of a situation. What do you not want to gain? So what is it that patients basically say to you? Well, yeah, I'd like to have that and I'd like to get rid of that, but I don't want to have to what?
I don't want to have to keep going through this. I don't want to have to come back to you.
Right. I don't want to have to keep coming back for appointments. I don't want to, because again, these are things that we're saying, like, I don't want to gain this. I don't want to gain, what else they say?
They don't want to gain more weight because then they're getting more tired. They just have these different associative kinds of things in their mind. Like they start connecting the dots to things that even if it's not connected to, they're connecting the dots to it.
Yeah, you would think a person in that case would have certain social situations that they're mindful of, or clothing, or just things like that, cause them angst from being overweight.
Yeah.
And so they might,
for them, the breakdown is so great in terms of the mental capacity that they'll just cover it up.
Yeah.
But they're still dealing with the issues. In other words, they just buy bigger clothes.
Well, right. But here's the thing is that you guys are actually describing stuff that goes in the 2 upper quadrants still.
Oh,
Really?
So I'm talking about what do they not want to gain. So I'll give you a couple of examples to prime the pump. Or no, first I'll do my thing where I expand upon the way the question could be asked. So when I say to you, what do you not want to gain? Inside of what you don't want to gain could be expectations for things to be done, responsibilities for things to be done, changes in your patterns that are going to require resources. Does any of that stimulate you guys to think about what do you not want to gain as you think about losing weight?
So that's more work.
This is it. I don't want to gain a lot of extra work.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't.
more qualitative kinds of things that they'll say they don't want to do more work. It's more involved in this. They just want the pills, something easy to do.
Right. I don't want to have to go and work out. I don't want to be responsible for food logs. I don't want to have to measure out things and keep track of things. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to gain these things. Right. So I don't want to have to keep coming back. I don't want to have to, maybe they say, I don't want to be taking, vitamins or whatever. I don't want to. That's what we're talking about for that quadrant. Every change requires perhaps a whole set of supportive changes to occur. Like how is someone ever going to change their weight until they become more aware of what it is they're already eating and what that all adds up to, or the quality of whatever it contains. So they might say, I don't want to have to look things up before I eat it. I don't want to have to put something on my phone every time I do anything about logging. I don't want to have to do 10,000 steps a day. These are things they're saying they do not want to gain.
right. I don't want to have to search out the foods that I have to eat.
Right. I don't want to go to a different store. I don't want to have to change my, oh no, I'm getting into the other quadrant. So, but yeah, all right. So the other quadrant is what I don't want to lose. So what do you not want to lose? And so these are habits, patterns, routines that you don't want to stop doing.
Well, you don't want to lose health.
Yeah, they'll say they don't want to lose health, but what do they continue to do anyway?
Act unhealthy.
Well, and so on the one hand, they can say, I don't want to lose. What do I not want to lose? What do I
I
not
don't
want
want
to
to
lose?
lose my freedom.
I don't want to lose my freedom.
Mm.
That's probably the biggest one, and isn't that one we're hearing a lot on a lot of other issues? I don't want to lose my freedom. Let me mute myself for a second. If you guys will just continue on that chat for just 1 minute, please.
Interesting.
Yeah, continue talking about it.
How about maybe not wanting to lose relationships?
Yeah, that'd be a big one.
Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
think that could be very impactful for some people. They feel like they've gained a lot of weight and, their spouse doesn't find them attractive anymore, and it's affecting their business relationships. They feel, stuff like that.
Yeah. Even maybe not losing their status, in certain communities where people might look at them differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Did anybody talk? I don't want to lose, or what you give me the recap? What did you come up with?
Relationships.
Don't want to lose relationships. I don't want to lose my freedom. I don't want to lose. What else?
Choice.
Choice. Control. Oh, there we go. I don't want to lose control. I don't want to lose money. So sometimes, the things that they need to do require that they spend money on certain things. Maybe they need to join a gym. They don't want to lose the money. They don't want to lose the time. They don't want to lose, freedom, etc. Okay, so I continue on this, but so Linda, you're on the call. Did you hear what I said to Jim?
I don't know. What did you say?
I just told Jim that I would ask you to open up the garage door because he's about to pull in to get those signs. So if
Oh,
you-
no, I did not hear that.
Oh,
I'll go-
sorry. Yeah, I thought, was I muted when I said that? I think I
You
was.
did. You did. You were. honey,
Okay,
you
anyway,
were.
thanks. Thanks so very much.
Okay.
Yeah, today is a crazy day, everybody. Okay, so I wanted to go through this just so I could help you guys to better understand what those 4 quadrants are all about and how you can go about using them to get more elements of that overall value equation pulled out of your clients. So has this been helpful to you?
Yes.
very.
Yeah, yeah. Because I thought people seem to have no difficulty with the upper left quadrant. What do I hope to gain? But the other ones they struggle with, and you know, each one of them gets a little bit more. But we got it, because how many of you recognize this? You could spend all the time you want to imagine helping people flesh out those upper 2 ones, what they hope to gain, what they hope to lose. But what does that guarantee? Anything or nothing? What do you think? If all you ever talk about is this is what I want to gain, this is what I want to lose, you think it's going to follow through? Can you count on the change occurring?
Not yet.
No, because why? What could end up coming up?
They still feel in control.
They still feel in control or not sufficiently out of control to bother doing anything about it. But one of the things or more of the things in those lower 2 quadrants are going to appear in their reality. So they're going to go like, yeah, you know, intellectually, I know I want to gain this. I want to get rid of all that. And I understand all that. But you know what? I don't want to gain the extra responsibility and I don't want to spend the money. So is the deal just broken?
Yep.
Yep. And I think that's the whole reason. It's like sometimes in the work we do as human development professionals, we believe that if all we talk about are the positive aspects and the positive outcomes, the benefits, you know, talking about healthcare, the wellness, and all the stuff that comes along with wellness, then that smart people are going to automatically follow through and do what needs to be done. But what have we actually learned in the laboratory of life?
They don't.
They don't. And why don't they do that? It goes back to what we say about the whole path to begin with. If the truth is that you know where you're at, that's your current situation, and you know where you want to go, that's your desired situation, why are you not already there? And the answer is because there is some obstacle or set of obstacles, real or imagined, that are in your way. Until those obstacles are identified and dealt with, what's the likelihood that you will ever, you know, make the change and reach your goal? It's
Not
just
likely.
It's just not likely. And so these 2 lower quadrants there, if you will, are there to help us anticipate what the pushback is going to be. And unless we can do something early on to acknowledge and address those pushback issues, well, then there you go. That's why it's not going to happen. Now, the reason why, though, I wanted to bring all that up is because remember last time around I said, you know, if you really do a good job on exploring what I hope to gain and what I hope to lose, all that green stuff, tension's going to go very nice. People are going to feel very excited and positive and motivated to do something. I now need to get those obstacles to reach down and grab hold of that level of tension and pull it up. I want to get past the blue and the yellow, because blue and yellow tends to stabilize tension, if not lower tension.
Yeah.
So white, green, black, red. So now if you think about that, while I consider what you don't want to gain and what you don't want to lose as being simply parts of the value equation, understanding the goal in greater detail, it starts to tip its toe into obstacle identification. And that obstacle identification is what's really pulling the tension up. But I need to take it a step further. Now, usually when we first teach the path and this questioning technique for phase 2, we say that obstacle identification is really one question: what's stopping you from getting there? And then we let the prospect or whoever tell us, well, here's what's in my way. And that's really great as far as a beginner level sort of a program. You guys are not beginners. I want you to be able to go into a much deeper level. And that deeper level is going to involve you understanding the 4 root causes of human struggle and failure. Now, this comes from pride-based leadership. Well, I mean, that's where we tend to teach it first, but there's a reason why people struggle and fail to reach whatever objective they've either had set out for them or they've set out for themselves. And they all begin with un. So UN, what are the 4 root causes of human struggle and failure? Each begins with un.
Unskilled.
Unskilled, we would put that into the category of they are unable to do something.
All
So
right.
they're lacking the knowledge, the skill, the experience.
Unwilling.
Unwilling is certainly a big one. There are 2 others. So I may start.
Unmotivated, would unmotivated be another?
Unmotivated, we put into the willingness category, but you are correct, yes. Okay, here's the 4 uns. These are the 4 root causes of human struggle and failure. Do jot them down, you will be tested. So they are unaware, unable, unwilling, unsuitable. Unaware, unable, unwilling, and unsuitable.
Interesting.
Okay, so unaware, the obstacles that fall in the category of unaware are obstacles where we say the reason why this person isn't moving forward is because they don't know about X. They don't understand X. If I can make them aware of something, that could change the whole frame they put around something. And as a result of that, they may ultimately change their behavior. So you have to ask yourself, is there something that if they knew would completely change the way that they are framing something, responding something, believing something? Now, I think that issues of awareness are probably the most problematic. And that's because awareness requires number 1, access to the truth. And I mean the truth all in capital letters, the real truth. And it also requires an ability to accept the truth, or a willingness to accept it, recognize and respond to it. So if I'm in a medical situation and I say to you, you have stage 4 pancreatic cancer, I've just made you aware of something. But you might go, well, then let's treat it. And I say, I need to make you aware of what stage 4 means. Now, when I make you aware of what stage 4 means, might that change your frame around it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I say to you, I also need to make you aware specifically of what stage 4 pancreatic cancer means.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start talking about actual survival rates and things like that. Might that information, that new awareness you have, or that expanded awareness that you have, change your mindset around what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, etc. Yeah. And so that's what my point. It's like sometimes what's stopping someone from moving forward is they are not aware of something that if they were aware of it could very well change it. Now, wouldn't it have been nice if they'd become aware at stage 1? But they didn't. And now they're up to stage 2 or stage 3 or stage 4. They don't know what those stages mean. And they don't know how the meaning of those stages changes based on what the underlying diagnosis really is. Right? Did I say that correctly, Brian?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I'm sure there are other, well, I think stage 4 is terminal no matter what you're really looking
Right.
at.
Right.
But certainly in the real scheme of things, certain diagnoses have got better prognoses than others do as far as expanding remaining life.
I like this idea of these 4 working together, because I remember research from Alan Deutschman, I think was his name, wrote Change or Die, and he wrote about triple bypass patients from Johns Hopkins. So he talked about how the 3 F's, the fear, the force, and the facts of the situation, they did not change their behavior long term. That caused the first bypass. And so that ended up, the same kind of behaviors that led to a triple bypass. But the ones who did finally change their behavior, they were emotionally connected to something. So like one said he wanted to live long enough to see his grandson graduate. So he was unaware, and once he became aware, he found something that, was suitable for him to really connect the dots.
Absolutely.
Engage in
Absolutely.
different behaviors.
And this is my whole point is like, in your role as human development professionals, you know that what's stopping them from reaching their goal is the existence of some real or imagined obstacle. You want to make sure that you are dealing with the correct obstacle, because how we go about resolving an awareness obstacle is different than how we go about resolving an ability obstacle or a willingness obstacle or a suitability obstacle as we get to that. Let me give you one last, I know we're a few minutes over, but let me just finish this one little part. Right now, one of the biggest features we are starting to see in digital watches, so your Apple Watch or whatever, is that they now have built-in EKG capabilities.
Yep.
All right. Now that's a wonderful thing. Make no mistake about it. But it is also giving people a distorted understanding of what EKG is actually telling you. All right, so it's great. It's giving the information it's giving you is giving you, and that's really fine. And the doctors will be so glad that you have these recordings of your EKGs. But I was talking to my own doctor when we were wondering whether or not I was dealing with AFib or anything. As it turns out, I have no further episodes, so apparently not. But she said, "Are you aware of the fact that your heart can actually have multiple blockages and still give you a normal EKG?"
Exactly.
I said, "No." And she goes, "People think that an EKG reveals all anomalies in their heart and the heart function." And she says, until you have 3 blockages, we probably wouldn't see anything at all on an EKG. It would still show as being normal. So yeah, it's part of the story, but it doesn't tell you the whole story. And I went, in that one element of awareness, I said, well, then what should I be doing if it's not, monitoring my EKGs? And she said, well, you still need to make sure that, at your age, that you are doing the full battery of cardiology sorts of testing and all that. She goes, annually, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. And maybe you should be having a cardiac MRI, or you should be doing whatever. And Brian, you could tell us better. But it's not like an EKG is the only thing. How many of you that, now that I've just said this, were not aware of the fact that you could still have blockages on the surface of your heart and nothing would be visible on an EKG?
Didn't know.
Didn't know. Okay. Did that raise your tension?
Yeah.
All righty then. So this is what we're big.
I have to go to the doctor, T.
Yeah. There you go. There's what you got to go, because there's other things that can be done. But this is the whole point. Awareness changes someone's reality. And we have to be able to know, are they missing some important piece of information? Or with the one I just said about the EKG, are they operating under some distorted view of how things actually work? Are they? So a little bit of knowledge is a very dangerous thing. So we need the whole story. We need the whole story. Okay, we'll pick up on this on Thursday, and we'll talk about the other 3 obstacles, and then you'll find that the rest of working our way through the MasterStream is pretty straightforward. So we'll go from there. Okay, so thanks everybody. Take care, and we'll talk again on Thursday.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks. Bye everybody. Bye for now.
Hi, everyone.